Hey, what's up everybody? It's me, Yemmy the Ferret here with another episode of YemmyCast, a video game podcast on YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iTunes. That is right, all those locations, all in one swagalicious go. If you're looking for it on Spotify or SoundCloud or iTunes, I appreciate you nonetheless. If you're here for the premiere on Sunday, 9:30 a.m., I appreciate you just as much. We're not pooping around this time. Okay, we're not starting with some bullshit. We're going right into it. I got GreedyWaffle here, aka Nick.
Hello, everyone. Pleasure to be here.
And we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk Madden. Dun 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 dun.
dun. So back to our horrible days of Madden games.
I think they're coming back though because you seem pretty impressed with how it's looking so far, if I'm not mistaken.
There's a huge difference. I'm just want it because the Browns are actually going to be good, and everybody knows Cleveland Browns is my team.
Just your team? Come on.
Yes, I own them. I command them. I maybe on Madden I do.
Yeah. Well, the last Madden we played was Madden 18, right? 17.
Yeah.
And that was quite bad. It was probably it was like building up. Like ever since like the new generation of consoles, like Madden just went downhill faster and faster because they were like, we gotta make the graphics better. We gotta make the physics better. And then they didn't.
I think you injected it out of your console and threw it in the trash, if I remember correctly.
I might have. Or was that Rock? It might have been a Rock Band, but it
probably both.
Yeah, probably both. Probably.
Rip.
Yeah, Madden made both of us rage pretty hardcore. Just because there's just a random bullshit in it, you know? It's just like everything that you would do would just like I don't know.
It makes sense.
It didn't make sense.
Add up.
Curl routes never fail you, right?
And you got your shoelace tackles, which is where he literally dives like 20 yards to tackle me and touches my toe, and like my guy flips out and does like a freaking barrel roll and like dies pretty much. And then there's just like the body physics were just like ragdolls. It was just like didn't make sense, you know?
I think I remember I got a clip on my old channel of the lineman like doing a backflip in the air and falling over. There was also.
Do you have any?
I don't have any of those
videos.
I don't think I have any of those anymore.
You should upload like a couple so people know what we're talking about.
I don't know if I can find them, but yeah, there's a lot of shit that happened. We even didn't we play on the Xbox just to see if there was a difference too?
Maybe. I don't think so.
I think I don't remember, but I think we.
Oh
did.
Yeah, because it was like on sale. Like the Xbox One was on sale. Or no, did we? No,
Madden was on sale, and we got it for Xbox, I think.
Yeah.
And then we got it for PS4 later on when it was on sale again, and it wasn't any better.
No, it's same shit, different toilet.
But Madden 20's coming. You can see the advertisements all over the place, GameStop and all that. It has Showtime Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes on the cover.
Early access is out right now as we speak.
Yeah, it's right now. So let's. What are your hopes and dreams for Madden now?
For the Browns to be 90 overall. Obviously, 100 is towards the goal. You know, the higher the ranking, closer to 100 is, you know, the better the team. And right now, the Browns are sitting at 84. I want to say 83, and that has been a tremendous improvement since like 2016, 2017, where they're in the low 70s, and like usually the lowest team has been the Cleveland Browns, and they're not the lowest team anymore. So that's a great 2 thumbs up from me, 2 thumbs up from GreedyWaffle.
Yeah, there you go.
They can have all the salads. I allow them.
There really hasn't been much stated about if the game is good or bad. There's some people who have been picking apart the game a little bit. Like this one, the Greg Olsen character, he's on the Panthers, looks nothing like him in real life. There's one where Patrick Mahomes is going to be the most annoying player you've ever faced in Madden because
Yeah,
the
I saw
video
that
shows.
video.
What was the show? He's like no look passing or whatever.
Yeah, he's just kind of like rolling out left, like running, and then like as he's running, he throws like a
The perfect
50-yard
pass.
bomb. Yeah, like a 80-yard bomb.
And
But
there's
that's
also
what
already
that's
a
what
running
sorry.
glitch. There's already a running glitch found in Madden 20 as well.
Well, there's a glitch in every EA game. Come on, let's get that. Let's get that settled.
Well, in this one, he seems to. I don't know. I'm not like I don't know actually what happened. He got downed and then he got back up and went into the touchdown zone and got a touchdown. Kind of like when you called for fair catch in the end zone and put you at the 1 yard line.
Yeah, so when you call for a fair catch for the people who don't understand football, you're supposed to get it down at the 20-yard line. 20 yards from where you fair catch.
If you're in the end zone and the ball goes.
If you're in the end zone, and the end zone's about 10 yards long, and I was in the end zone, clear as day, just in the middle, and I'll say about halfway, so probably 5 yards in, and it downed me at the 1 because Madden. I was so upset, and it was just like a bad game for me. Like I think you were up like 24-7 or something like that, and I was just getting demolished, and just adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, so there's always like glitches like that in EA Maddens. Like last year was the Steelers running back who was very highly rated was like disappearing on the field as soon as the ball snapped, and then all of a sudden he disappears or appears behind the defense, and he's like 20 yards away from everyone else, and everyone's just like, "What?"
Is that Le'Veon Bell? Was that?
Yeah, that was it. Yep, you remember that?
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, that's like things that are like egregious. Like if a playtester doesn't see that, what are they blind? What are you blind?
It's EA, they probably don't have those.
Yeah, they probably just are like, yeah, it's fine.
They just copy and paste, previous years.
It seems
No
like
scripts.
It seems like they're doing a little bit more this year in terms of like, because like they added the Philly special in, which is available for all the teams. They have the no look pass for Mr. Mahomes. They're always trying to make the defense a little bit more even, and I think this year they tried even harder with that. The last game we played, they were trying to make the passing something more intuitive. Like you had, the different buttons were different grab styles, and then on defense you had like the different. That's still in there, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they also, of course, they tried to add in the campaign mode, which they are continuing, I believe, with this one. I believe you can go from college to the big leagues, and it doesn't follow our good friend, what's his
Long
face?
Shot?
Long Shot boy.
Something, Devin something? Right?
Yeah,
Devin?
you would remember the name.
Oh, yeah.
What was that? It's a long shot, it's a long shot.
Sure, yeah.
The cruise missile.
Oh, yeah, that was it. I was trying to think of the guy's name, his buddy's name.
Cruise missile right up Devin's ass. There we go.
Yep. Anyways,
back to your hopes and dreams for Madden 20. What else do you want to see in the game that has been missing for maybe years or maybe hasn't been put into the game at all?
Just the ability to play a game, that there's just so much, I could be here all night just explaining things. I just want like a functional, like, I mean, it's hard because most people listening probably haven't played much Madden or at all any Madden, and it's one of those where if you play it, you understand what I'm saying, but just like a functioning game where the middle linebackers aren't catching your wide receiver who should be like or your defensive lineman. Yes, that was it. The defensive lineman catching up to a wide receiver. I'll throw like a 10-yard pass and the wide receiver catches it open field, and all of a sudden this 300-pound defensive lineman comes out of nowhere like 40 yards behind me and tackles me at the 5. It's like that would never happen because that's usually
all those drop passes too, like
Yeah.
interceptions and just drop passes in general, like things that are like blatantly they should have caught the ball, but of course Madden's like, oh, but we have to do your percentage. You fuck off, mate.
Yeah, the catching. Yeah, that was another big issue. There'll be no one around your guy, and just he has stone hands. The ball hits him in the hand, or he won't even like acknowledge the ball. We've had that happen many
Yeah.
times where our guy would just keep running, and like he
Won't
glitches
look
out
back.
and not
No
even
look
like
catch.
look.
Never will.
Yeah, no look catch, or just continue running like he's just like scripted just to run and do nothing but run forward, because he's not like looking for the ball. He's just sprinting like Forrest Gump, just down the road, sprinting out of the stadium. It's like,
Yeah.
come back. Um, but
Well, Nick,
yeah, so the catching, and the interceptions, and the like, if there's like a group of people, like I'll throw it to like a 2-man coverage, and it'll like hit every person in that little circle there, and then no one catches it,
Right.
or like it will like magnet to the player, you know what I mean, and then like slowly drop down, just stuff like that. It's just like
just take it out of the game. Yeah.
just yeah, just take passing out. I want a run only game.
Well, hey, let's move on to the rankings here. Madden 20 released their list of rankings, and we're gonna play a game that the NFL podcast plays, which is over, under, or just right. So if the rating is too much, we say it's over. If the rating is too low, we say it, or wait, am I saying this right? If the rating is too low, no, wait. Overrated, underrated. Okay, so
yeah, you had it right.
I had it right.
If the rating's too high, you say overrated. How about we say overrated
if it's too
or
low,
underrated?
yeah, or underrated. If it's too low, it's underrated, and if it's just right, we just give the okay hand, and it's just right. Okay.
The good old Chuck Norris thumbs up.
Yeah. We're gonna start in at the lowest ranks here. We'll go from the Dolphins up, and we're gonna slowly reveal their list of teams that and what their rankings are, just because that's just how the game's played. But first off, we have the Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins, and right now their overall is 74, their offensive rating is 72, and their defensive rating is 69. And like I said, the overrating is 74. They used to be 76, 81, and 77. Overrated, underrated, or just right?
I think they're just right, because the Dolphins actually have been falling apart. They haven't added anything this offseason. So I don't know how much time you want to spend on these, but they haven't really.
As long as you need to.
They really haven't spent any time like in free agency, which is like where you can claim free players to like bribe them, pretty much like, hey, come play for us. We can pay you good amounts of money. They haven't added much, so I think they're just about right.
Just right. I mean, besides from a few big games, they beat the Bears and the Patriots last year. The Dolphins really didn't show much.
Any signs of hope? Yeah.
Yeah, any signs of hope. That the Miracle in Miami play, of course, will always go down in history. But if you don't have a winning season, what's the point? Like you can get it's exciting in the moment. It's exciting sitting there and watching it happen on the screen, or actually being there at the stadium. But in the end, you go, okay, so your team went what and what?
3-13. Yeah. Good job.
So I think this one is actually overrated, to be honest with you. I don't think they've added like any key players. Like even they got a quarterback. They traded for a quarterback, but really they haven't done much to make me think that they're going to get any better this year. And as podcasts and stuff like to say, I think they're doing a decline on purpose. They want to try and get the better draft picks next year, which is probably what they're planning on doing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but I think the lowest score should be a 70 in Madden, because all the let's say the average. I mean, I don't know, you might think different, but I think the average of like these teams are in the 80s. So I think 74, you're not going to win many games with Dolphins. So I think kicking them down lower, or you saying overrated, I think that's a little harsh. No one ever is going to play as Miami.
I don't think many players who, unless they're fans of Miami, will play at Miami,
True. Unless it's us just picking random.
Can you turn off the light, please? That's what I was asking. You can come in, but the light was glaring on my face. Anyways, next we're moving on to the Nyak Giants. Giants. and they're at a cool 77 overall with a 72 offensive rating and a 75 defensive rating. Last year they were 74, and the defense was 77, and the offense was 77 too. Okay. um, of course, Giants have lost one of their best players, and they're still sticking with Mr. Manning, not Manning,
Eli.
Eli
Right,
Manning.
he's still Manning. Yeah,
Yeah, he's still Manning. I was thinking of the insurance commercial one though.
Oh,
Peyton
Nationwide.
slap his forehead, all that stuff.
We're a band.
Overrated, underrated, or just right?
Overrated.
Yeah, I agree
Considering,
with that.
so this week is training camp for like the actual sports team, not just like Madden.
Yeah.
For the actual sports team, and they already lost their 3 top receivers, so they're gonna go way down. I think they'll be eventually lower than the Dolphins. 74, as a reminder. I think they will eventually be lower than the Dolphins, but
Yeah.
I think they're definitely overrated right here.
After losing Odell Beckham, I can't see the Giants doing well.
Whatever team took them, real assholes,
And
Browns got 'em.
they're still trying to hang on to Eli Manning. It's like he really hasn't put up the best numbers in the years. Like he's still good, but he's not like. It's not like you should only have him as your quarterback. I think you should still have a backup ready to go when he eventually crumbles, like he did last year.
Well, yeah, they drafted a quarterback this year, so.
Oh man,
So he's got some
he's got some competition. Yeah. I mean, not much else to say about the Giants, right? I think it's just a team that's in recession, and they're trying to get better players next year, pretty much.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to say that again, training camp, and this quarterback was drafted like the first out of many quarterbacks, and this quarterback class was supposedly like one of the best ever quarterbacks, and the Giants picked like one of the lowest rated quarterbacks in the draft. And so they were at training camp this week, and apparently he's like 5 for 25 on receptions, so RIP Giant fans.
Yeah, I mean, they probably should have gone with the best option, to be honest with you. But maybe they're just trying to be like, look, Eli's so good. He's beating out this rookie. It's like, well, it's Deshaun Kaiser. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Let's move on to the Bills, the Buffalo Bills, another New York team. The New York teams seem to be in remission right now. But overall, they're 78. Offensively, they're 80. And defensively, they're 71. Last year, they were 75 overall, with 75 overall offense and 81 defense, which, I mean, those numbers don't seem right to me, and also these numbers don't seem right to me either. But overall, underrated or overrated or just right?
This one I'm kind of iffy about, but I think I'm on the fence, but I think I'm going to say overrated. Supposedly the quarterback they have, Josh Allen, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
He's supposed to be really good. He didn't play like till like the second half of the season, but supposedly he's supposed to give them like this big bright future hope, and he's supposed to be like really good. So, but I think he hasn't really proved anything, so I think he's still a little overrated.
I think this one's just right, to be honest with you. I mean, I think the defense is a little low. It's besides from the Jaguars, it's one of the lowest defenses on this list right now. But I mean, like you said, I don't think the offense has really shown it. And even though I do agree with an 80, because I've seen Josh Allen's tapes. I mean, he didn't do awful, and not like the 49ers rookie quarterback who ran to a first down and then threw the ball and dropped it in the end zone. That was probably a worse decision than anything Josh Allen has ever done. But yeah, they, like you said, they really haven't proved anything yet. I mean, lots of these teams haven't proved anything yet, but we've seen the stuff from last year, and it wasn't like the most amazing. And the Bills team last year was pretty trash. So actually, I think it is overrated. You've swayed me just by myself talking it out to myself.
I do think, baby.
I mean, right now the Bills should probably be. I mean, if we kept the numbers the same, they should probably be below the Giants at least.
Yeah, or even with them, yeah. Maybe like a 76 or 75 or 77, yeah, around there. but yeah, so I think they're a little overrated.
Anything else to say about the ye old Bills?
No, not really. I mean, don't really pay attention to them.
All right, let's move into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers down in Florida. um, they are 78 overall. They have 74 offensive overall and 76 overall in defense this year. Last year they were 77 overall, 79 offensive, and 81 defensive. Overrated, underrated, or just right?
I think just right on this one. Maybe a little overrated, but I think it's like barely, just barely a little overrated. Their quarterback supposedly supposed to be real good. He's about in his third year now, but they lost one of their good receivers. So I don't. I think that hurt them a little bit. I didn't watch enough of their defense. I know the Browns have their defensive coordinator now, so
Oh,
I think they're a little overrated, or just new. I'm gonna go with neutral. I'm gonna stick with
just
neutral. I
right,
think
just
just
right.
right. Yeah, I think they're good where they're at.
I know they stirred up some waves back in free agency, but I didn't really like you. I don't really follow the Buccaneers, so it's not like I really know exactly. And I didn't. I mean, we didn't even really watch any of their games last year either to really gauge whether the team was going to be better or worse this year. So I'm just going to have to go with you and say it's just about right. Uh, I don't. Yeah, I'm not really sure about this one.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about them either.
All right, we're moving on to the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals, the Cardinals really flopped last year after a really good run 2 years ago.
Yep.
This year was just like, woo, oh boy. Anyways, somehow they're tied with the last two, so they're 78 overall. They have an 80 overall on offense and 73 overall on defense. Last year they were 75 overall with a 77 offensive and 79 defensive. Overrated, underrated, or just right?
I think underrated, honestly, with this one. They got so you said something about 2 years ago. I'm glad you said something about that because it helps my case here. Uh, so the reason they weren't as good as last year is because a lot of the players that were from 2 years ago were injured last year. So their running back was really injured. Their wide receiver is one of the best in the league, underrated. That wide receiver is. No one really talks about him, but he's super good. And so those two should have a healthy return. And then they drafted number one overall quarterback. Was it number one overall? Maybe it was. Maybe.
I think so. I think he went to the Cardinals. I don't remember what his
Okay,
name
so
was though.
that Giants quarterback was second taken, but still, he was taken too early. My point for the Giants quarterback. Back to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So he's supposed to be really good, and he's supposed to give some light to that offense. They have a really good defense. That's why they're ranked so low on this. But their defense, like their secondary for, cornerbacks and like safeties, are really good. And they added a lot of key pieces to at the offseason. And then they got a new coach from who was from college, I think Texas A&M or something like that. And he was really good. So there's a lot of high hopes. I think you to quote me on this. We'll see a rise in Cardinals in Madden 20.
Do you
They're
have
at
faith
70.
in Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan's not the quarterback.
Wait, what happened to him?
Matt Ryan's for the Falcons.
Oh, he went to. Oh, that's right. Duh.
He's always been on the Falcons. He was never
Who
traded.
was the Cardinals guy then?
Last year it was not sure.
Yeah.
No one important. No one important.
important.
But yeah, Matt Ryan's for the Falcons. But yeah, so we'll see a rise. We should see a rise from Cardinals. Cardinals will probably be mid 80s, upper 80s. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Once again, I have no knowledge of the Cardinals, so I'm at the pass on this one. I'll just agree with you and say it's a little underrated. I mean, if what they if those players do come, those key players from 2 years ago come back and do as well as they did that the year that they had the playoff run, like yeah, I mean I could see it being underrated, definitely.
Yeah. So
All right.
I mean,
Yeah, go on.
what's that?
Go on.
You can't really say because these players never played snap in the professional, but there's a lot of like hype for them coming in. So, I mean, just based off of height, I think they're a little underrated right now.
All right, the last Nyak team, the Nyak Jets. They are 78 overall right now with an 80 offense and a 73 defense. Last year, 74 overall, 71 offense, 81 defense. Their quarterback, what was his name again?
Uh,
Darnell, that's right.
Sam Darnell.
Yeah,
Sam.
he was kind of on the same hype level as Mayfield, but of course, the two teams never clashed at the end of the year, just at the beginning of the year when we got our first win after like 32 games of losing straight. So let's see, is it overrated, underrated, or just about right?
I mean, they did add a key player, Le'Veon Bell, which we mentioned earlier. He's a really good running back, and they added
He could
a lot
disappear.
of. Yeah, he can disappear. He can do magic tricks. Um, and they added a lot of good key pieces to defense. They added a really good linebacker from the Ravens, and they added a lot of key pieces. If that Darnell guy, he's only in his second year, the sophomore year we call it.
Mhm.
This team could be underrated. I think I'm going with underrated. I think we'll see a rise in them in two in Madden 20.
Yeah, I think right now it's just about right. I mean, of course, when they hit the field, we'll see exactly how they do. But
Hopefully they don't face plant in the field.
yeah, well, that's it's always a worry for people. So yeah, I think it's just about right for right now. I'm glad they took out Crowell and they have Bell in there, so that definitely adds some respect for me because Crowell, he's infamous for the butt the toilet paper football. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think it's just about right, and we'll see if they do get better throughout the year, and if Darnell is really deserving of his nickname S Darn.
Yeah, we have to do like an updated on this, like one of these podcasts, and say where teams are now.
Yeah, we can probably the Super Bowl. Right? We
Yeah,
we come back for the Super Bowl predictions, and we'll do this as well, huh?
yeah. How about that? Mark your calendars.
Yeah, mark them up. Almost a year, half a year later.
Yeah,
All right, Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars took a steep nosedive last year, but
yeah.
they
It
got
was your
rid.
favorite team at one point.
They were my favorite team 2 years ago, and then last year they just stunk everything up. Uh, let's see, they got rid of their quarterback Bortles. Uh,
Yeah.
they didn't really like add anyone as in key players though, but they got Flack. Is it Flacco or
No, they got Nick Foles, Big Dick Nick.
Foles? Yeah, Big Dick Nick, he's in there. But
Yep.
anyways, their overall is 79. Their offense is 82, and their defense is 71. Last year they were 83 overall with a 81 offense and 91 defense, which that seems heckin' crazy to me. But anyways,
Yeah.
this is overrated, underrated, or just about right.
I think it's just about right. They did add a key quarterback. I mean, the quarterback Bortles really stunk. If they had a better quarterback, they would have definitely made it farther into that 2-year run, maybe into the Super Bowl. But
Super Bowl.
they barely lost to
The
Patriots
Steelers.
or the Steelers. Was it Steelers?
Yeah, the
Um,
Steelers. Remember the Steelers had their backup in, and then all of a sudden Roethlisberger decided to wake up, and he like at the last second they won the game.
yeah, so they barely lost there. So if they had a decent quarterback, they would have won. But I think they're just about right. They added Nick Foles, which he carried Philadelphia 2 years ago to a Super Bowl,
Yeah,
and so he. I mean, what were they the year before this overall?
the Jaguars. They were like in the 80s, right? They were like 80.
Yes, okay, so they went down. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're just about right. I mean, their quarterback, literally all they did is just add a quarterback. Their running back is supposed to be really good. He's heading into his third year. So they have that. Other than that, I mean, I really don't think they added much, so can't really say much about them.
Yeah, I think it's a little overrated if they haven't added too much to help with the defense and the offensive line and stuff like that.
Well, their
And
defense took a poop, so they're at
yeah,
71. So,
yeah, they're 71 overall. So I think this is a little overrated, to be honest with you. I don't think
okay.
because, well, to be honest with you, like Foles, Big Dick Nick, we'll call him. I mean, yeah, he led them to playoff run last year and the Super Bowl the year before that. But I mean, what has he done for the team lately?
Yeah, I mean,
The
they
lead,
traded his ass, so.
they traded him pretty fast, and they have all that faith in Wentz, who was injured for both
Past
of their
2
playoff
years.
runs, 2
Yeah,
years in a
past
row.
year. Two
Um,
years.
So
He
I
got
don't
paid a
know.
lot of money too.
Yeah, I don't know if if Big Dick Nick can actually lead a team throughout the whole season, because he might just be like that special quarterback you bring up at the end of the season just to get through a few games and get some wins in there just to mix things up. So I think this is an overrated team right now.
Yeah, I could actually kind of agree there. So, and I think we'll see them like steady, like maybe mid 70s or high 70s throughout Madden 20s. So that's my prediction for that.
All right, we're moving on to the Hugh Jackson Bengals. Not just kidding. We're moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati is the hometown of the Football Hall of Fame. So the Bengals are 80 overall right now with 78 offense and 78 defense. Last year they were 77 overall, 77 offense, and 83 defense. Overrated, underrated, or just right?
First off, I want to say the Football Hall of Fame's not in Cincinnati; it's in Canton.
That's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I meant.
So let's get that right. But I think overrated here, honestly. They haven't added much, but they supposedly have these good players. They have this decent wide receiver, but he was injured last year and the year before, and he got injured again with a foot injury during training camp this week. So I think they're going to miss him. Their running back, sophomore year, he's supposed to be really good. Sophomore or third year? But he's like this short, like guy that's like, a really good like passing back. So he's supposed to be like elusive and quick. So he's supposed to be really good. And then they have a good tight end, but that tight end is always getting injured. And the quarterback is just awful. If they had a good quarterback, I think they would be much better. But I think they're a little overrated here.
Yeah, Andy Dalton, I don't know, he's like a middle of the road quarterback. He doesn't do anything amazing. The funny thing is, when we were playing them the second time, I believe, right, he injured his hand, and they put in the backup, and the backup actually brought some life back into the
Yeah, I
team.
think the Browns were winning like 23-3 or something like that. And
Yeah,
the backup brought them back to like within 7 or something like that.
yeah. So I agree. I think this is overrated, but they did get rid of their coach and they got rid of Hugh Jackson. So I think they're already on a good path there. But we'll see how they do. Yeah, I think we got a little bit of a rivalry with the Bengals since they did rehire Hugh Jackson. But that was last year, of course.
That was
So I don't
last
know if the
year.
team is going to be as pumped to beat them again this year. But
No.
I mean, I think we'll beat them anyways, just because it's
Yeah,
the Bengals.
I hope so.
All right, the Detroit Lions. They've had a rough road these past few years.
Yeah.
They're your favorite team.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Because you randomly got me a sticker, so they're my favorite team now, huh?
anyways, they are 80 overall with an 80 offensive rating and a 76 defensive rating. Last year they were 79 overall with 83 offense and 81 defense. Overrated, underrated, or just right?
I'm gonna go a little overrated here. I think 80 is a little too high. I would be okay with like a 78 or a 77. But I think 80 is a little too much. I mean, their quarterback they have is like same thing with the Bengals quarterback, like middle of the road, Matt Stafford. I think he's like a little middle of the road, just doesn't do much, doesn't like impress things. But they brought in this receiver, Golden Tate, but he's suspended 4 games for substance use. So
Oh, yeah.
so they lost him. Their running backs are okay. They're probably like better of the offense, but I mean I can't say much about the running backs. They're just pretty good. They're not crazy good, but they're like decent. But I think 80 is a little overrated for them.
I actually think this is just about right because even though Matt Stafford didn't look good last year, we know he's better than he was like what he could do last year. I
Yeah,
think if they get a better offensive line in there, Matt Stafford could lead them to a playoff game. Which, fun fact, they haven't been to a playoff game since 1991, so they're due for a playoff game at least. And I think if the offensive line just stops people from smacking him in the face, he might be able to do better. But I think now he's getting to that age. He's a little bit older now. I think he's going to his late 20s. He's at that age where it's almost too late to either trade him for his value or get him to do things offensively that he couldn't do before because the offensive line was such crap.
Well, he just got a new contract last year, and he's the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL. So I don't think they're moving on from him anytime soon.
Well, that's what the Giants said about Odell Beckham, but look where he
that
is now.
so.
All right, moving on to the Oakland Raiders, who may not have a place to play this year, but they're still rated. So they're 80 overall. Their offense is 74, and their defense is 82. A little bit of a flip from what we're normally used to. Last year, they were 83 overall with 87 offensive and 83 defensive. Overrated, underrated, or just right?
I'm on the fence of underrated to just right. I mean, just like at that bottom of the barrel of like just right, or just okay, or whatever you were saying. But I think we'll see an incline. I mean, they got Antonio Brown, he is the best wide receiver in the NFL. And they got Derek Carr, a quarterback, which he is really good. He was the same thing with the Lions. I mean, we know he's capable of doing good, but he didn't have an offensive line last year to protect him and stop the defense from smacking him in the face. Yeah. So he wasn't able to do much. So they got this good coach that they hired for a 10-year deal. Imagine that, being with the Raiders for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's on a 10-year deal. So if the coaching works out and the receiver and the quarterback can make a connection, I think this team can be lethal. And I think they have a few other key weapons. I think they did a lot in the offseason. I know they had a lot of cap space. So I think they're a little underrated.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a little bit underrated for them, especially like you said with Derek Carr and a better offensive line. They can definitely make some headway. Last year when we faced them, I think because of a bad call, we lost that game. And is that the one where they were like, oh, the quarterback was a runner, so he can get hit in the head or something like that? Was that the one? Yeah. That was the reason we lost to them. But they still put up a good game at least.
And we only lost because our coach was an idiot and doesn't know how to manage a team. But let's not go there. That's a whole nother podcast.
Oh, we forgot to mention that didn't the Jets hire on what's his face? The guy who took over for Hugh, did he go in the Jets?
Craig Williams or something like that.
Yeah, Greg Williams. I think.
Yeah, he's a defensive.
And they forced him to. He forced them to hire his son or something like that.
Yeah. He's a defensive coordinator for the Jets. So
yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Jets have a good defense. I think they have a good lineup. So.
All right, moving on to the Denver Broncos, Peyton Manning's old hunting ground. They are 81 overall with a 84 offensive rating and a 75 defensive rating. Last year they were 79 overall, 77 offense and 85 defense. They put up quite a good game last year against us. I think we only won by like 1 point, right? That was it was pretty good. It was Chubb versus Chubb as well, because our running back was Chubb last year, and he still is this year. And on the offense for the Broncos, he was a wide receiver or a receiver at least, right?
Yeah.
So overrated, underrated, or just right?
I have to go with just right. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, another one where I'm like borderline just right or underrated. I'm leaning towards more underrated because they got Joe Flacco, which is the Ravens quarterback, which he led them to a Super Bowl? Yeah, Super Bowl. Lost, though, and led them to a couple playoff appearances. And they have a good running back, Philip Lindsay, and they have one of the best defensive linemen, Devin or something Miller. Von Miller, and their defense, they have good defense, and which they thought that 3 years ago when they faced Seattle and got pummeled 48 to 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
But they have a good defense, and the offense is underrated. Now that they have their problem the past couple of years has been they've had these middle of the road quarterbacks, and so I think they could do. I think they could do some damage here. So I think we'll see an incline from them too, Madden.
Yeah, I think it's just about right as well. I think the Broncos haven't really made waves these past few, or at least last year they didn't really do anything special. But I think this year, like you said, they got Flacco, so they could possibly get some points on the board and beat some tough teams.
Yeah, I agree.
We're moving on to speaking of the Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens. They got lucky last season with that bad call by the refs once again. The ball was fumbled at the 1 yard line, and we recovered it and could have ran it for a touchdown, but the refs called it a touchdown, and then it was reversed, and they put us down at the 5 yard line, which completely screwed us. So another game that was taken from us, but I'm over it. I'm over it. But
Glad you are. I'm not. Still irks me every day.
The Ravens are 81 overall with an 84 offensive and a 75 defensive. Last year they were 80 overall with a 77 offensive and 85 defensive. Overrated, underrated, just right.
I think where they're at right now, I think they're just right because they have a new quarterback. Lamar Jackson, had to think of his name, which same year as Baker Mayfield, the Browns quarterback, got drafted. I think he's a little iffy, like we're not too sure about him. He only had 1 year, and I think it was just his like play style is like he can run really fast and he can also throw, but his downside is he can't throw very accurate, but he can throw like these deep bombs. So we have to like still get a feel for how like he can utilize it in the field. So I think if he can get it good and utilize it and doesn't run too much, because you never want to run as a quarterback, because this guy is probably what 5'8", 120 pounds maybe, and he's
Soaking
getting
wet.
tackled, getting tickled, yeah, soaking wet, sweating, he's getting tackled by these 400-pound linemen, guys with giant muscles, biceps heavier than his whole body.
Yeah.
And so you gotta be careful when he's sprinting, and he just gets hit by these walls essentially, and so quarterbacks or not any quarterback, concussions, getting hit in the head. So they got to be careful of that because I cannot tell you who their backup is, and I don't think if they ever have to go to their backup, let's just say it's game over for them. But they added a few key pieces to the defense. They added one of the Seahawks player, safety Earl Thomas, which he's like probably the top safety. But they also lost a lot of defensive players too. Like I said, for the Jets, I think they took their middle linebacker, and so he's gone now. And they got a new running back, Ala Kamara. He used to be on the Saints. He's a decent running back. So it's just all like it's like just adding like these random pieces, but we have yet to see how it like works. So it's like one of those trial and error for them right now. So I think they're just right where they're at.
Yeah, I agree. As long as they don't do what was it? The Browns in 2016. There's like several quarterbacks who were running every play because they couldn't get any receivers open, and they just got pummeled and then hurt, and then we got worse and worse as the year went on. So as long as that doesn't happen, especially as you said, we don't even know the name of the backup quarterback. Who is he? No one knows.
No one knows.
So yeah, they really need to get more pieces on the defense too, defensive side of the things, because a 75 overall is lower than a lot of the teams that we've been talking about right now.
But you can quote me on this. But if they all do work out together, we will see the Ravens high 80s, like maybe lower 90s by the end of the year.
All right, I'll quote you. I'm writing that down.
All right.
All right. If you want to do the next three like fast, unless you have something to really say about them, but you have the Seahawks, the Titans, and the 49ers. Anything special to say about them?
I want to say something about the Seahawks. They've been really good for the past couple of years, and I think they're really underrated here because they added one of the top wide receivers. They also lost
Russell Wilson is great. He's a great quarterback.
He's a great quarterback, and he still is their quarterback. And their defense, they still have the best linebacker, and their defense is still crazy good. And I know they lost one of the wide receivers, but they also added one of the top draft wide receivers who is supposed to be like this big built like receiver that these small corners aren't going to be able to stop. But so I think they're really underrated here. I think we'll see incline in them. Titans, I think they're just right. 49ers, I think they're a little overrated. That's about it.
Yeah, so the Seahawks right now are 81, and they're tied with the Titans as well, who are 81 overall. And I agree. I think the Seahawks are a little bit underrated right here. The Titans are a little bit overrated, to be honest with you, because their quarterback Mariota. I mean,
Yeah, he's not the best.
he's
Yeah, I'll
like
agree with you on that. Actually,
he's not the best,
so
and
overrated.
like the games that he's won in, the games the Titans won last year, he wasn't in on the field.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like,
I agree with that one. Actually,
yeah,
yeah.
that's crazy. And then the 49ers, I do agree they're a little overrated as well, especially because their rookie quarterback last year made so many mistakes, especially towards the end of the year. Hopefully he's learned from them, so maybe he'll get a little bit better. But
The reason the 49ers are so like high up because they had a lot of draft picks and they're supposed to be really good. So
yeah, they're standing 83 right now, and they're tied with the next four teams we're gonna talk about. So we're gonna talk about the Browns for a little bit here because they are 83 overall right now, 82 offensively and 83 defensively. Last year they were 77 with 81 offensive and 79 defensive. Underrated, overrated, or just right?
underrated. And I'm not just saying that because bias, but I think they're definitely underrated.
Yeah, I
uh,
agree. We've added so many pieces. It's hard to say that we should be anything lower than 85. You know?
yeah, we added a lot of key pieces like the wide receiver from the Giants, their best wide receiver. We added a bunch of defensive linemen from like different teams that are really good. Our defense was pretty damn good last year too. So say they're 83 is kind of BS.
It's a slap in the
Um,
face.
yeah, the offense we had Baker Mayfield, which he played like 8 games and broke the rookie touchdown passing record,
Yeah.
which was set by Peyton Manning, which is Eli's older brother. But so we have that going on. The offense is supposed to be really good. We have Nick Chubb, which you mentioned at Oakland. He was our running back. He's really good. We got Kareem Hunt, which he was on the Chiefs. He was really good. Ohio native. Go Ohio. And so he's back. And we just are. I know, like, we haven't played together and we haven't proved it yet, but I think we're highly underrated here.
Yeah, and even like our receivers last year were like no names for the first half of the season because no one really, they were all rookies, right? Most of them were rookies. And by the end of the year, they asserted themselves as being key players in our offense, and they were vastly underrated. So yeah, I think I agree wholeheartedly. This is definitely underrated. All right, so we're gonna go through these next three a little bit faster as we did with the other ones. So we have the Redskins, the Texans, and the Vikings all sitting at 83 overall. And the Texans actually have an 88 overall offense and a 78 overall defense. But the Redskins have even a lower defense at 75. And the Vikings are sitting at 86 overall offensively and 80 defense. But they all have 83s. These teams, anything to say about them? Overrated, underrated, just right?
I actually have a lot to say about all of them, but I'll shorten up. Redskins overrated, Texas underrated, Vikings overrated.
Yeah, what's some
Vikings,
key points?
the Redskins, they just added a good Ohio State quarterback who actually was really good, but other than that, they have nobody else. So I don't know why they're rated so high. So that's like Madden just trying to like push them to be better, I guess. Texas, they were actually really good for the past 3 years, 2 years now. They have Deshaun Watson,
Yeah.
and their offense is actually really good, and their defense, they have like one of the best defensive players too, J.J. Watt, beast, and the Vikings, they have nothing to show for. They had I forget the quarterback's name, but he's a middle of the road, another highly paid quarterback who just hasn't done much. But the receiving core is really good. I think that's why this rated so high. So I might actually go neutral with them, but I think they're still a little overrated. I feel a little more 80-ish with the Vikings. So
Yeah, I agree with all three of your statements there. And especially last year, the Redskins had so many injuries, and they were just doing so terrible last year.
yeah,
It's
maybe
hard to
that's why
believe.
they're rated 83 because they hope the injuries will come back. But I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? All right, so next we have the 84s. The Bears, the Chiefs, the Panthers, and the Steelers are all sitting at 84. The Bears have an 88 overall for the offense and a 76 for defense, which is shocking to me.
Slap in the face, yeah.
Yeah.
Major slap in the face.
And, well, get this. The Chiefs, their offensive is at 78 overall, but their defense is at 88. I almost feel like those numbers should be reversed. And
Yeah,
then the Panthers are at 82-82, and the Steelers are at 80-85.
Yeah, this just sums up Madden's, like, rating
Bullshit.
adjusters, I guess you want to call them. But yeah, the Bears' defense is the best in the NFL, and they're only 76. That's a huge slap in the face. But the overall, I think they're just neutral, but their defense, should be better than 76. So I'm going to say underrated for the defense, and then the offense and the overall is just normal, neutral, whatever we're saying. Chiefs, on the other hand, is underrated. They're going to be much better than 84. I mean, that's ridiculous. And this offense is only a 78, and their defense is an 88. The reason they lost last year in the AFC Championship game is because to the Patriots because of their defense.
Yeah.
Like, their defense messed up, they effed up, and they cost them the game. And now they're an 88, better than the offense. And the Chiefs' offense lit up the field. Like, they scored the most points, like 68 points or something like that in one game, and they're only a 78. So I'm going to go underrated for the Chiefs. Panthers, I will say neutral, maybe a little overrated, but, Cam Newton. Steelers, I'm going to say just neutral. I think that's a good spot for them, 84. But they have Ben Roethlisberger in their offense. They did lose their top receiver, but they have another prospect that's coming in that's supposed to just be like him. I think their defense is a little overrated on this one, though, for the Steelers, 85. I think that's a little overrated. But so Bears underrated, Chiefs underrated, Panthers neutral, Steelers neutral.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the Bears. I mean, the Bears.
Bears.
I mean, even though they didn't play the best that they could have last year, that defense was so strong. And the only thing that was bringing them down was their offense last year. Even though the offense didn't play bad, they just had mediocre numbers. They had regular numbers. I think this year, I mean, this is their quarterback's third year in the sport. He's, of course, a hometown native of myself and you. And I mean, I have no problem cheering for them when they're doing good, and they were doing well last year. Their playoff run was only stopped by a lousy kick, and that kick was blocked.
Yeah, barely though. That's why it's
barely
controversy, but yeah.
And then the Chiefs, I mean, they were no joke last year, and they're still no joke this year. The reason that Mahomes is on the cover of Madden 20 is because he was that good. People love him. His passing is out of this world. And, like, both of those numbers are just slaps in the face to both of those teams. And, I mean, I would probably sue.
I don't think you can do that, but...
So we're almost to the top five. We're going to go over the 85s and the 86s together. So the Chargers are at 85, the Rams are at 85, and then the Colts and the Falcons are both at 86. The Chargers are 84 overall offensively and 87 defensively. The Rams are 86 overall offensively and 83 defensively. The Colts are 78 offensive and 91 defensive. And the Falcons are 82 offensive and 89 defensive. Overrated, underrated, just right.
All right, so we're getting into the area where the Madden 20 is really bugging me because these teams do not belong. Some of these teams do not belong up here. So the Chargers, we'll start with them. I think they're a little overrated. They haven't shown much. I mean, they were supposed to go to the Super Bowl last year, but they didn't. I think they got kicked out first round to, like, I want to say the Steelers almost.
They got kicked out. The Chargers beat the Ravens, and then they got kicked out by the Patriots.
Yeah, something like that. And yeah, the Patriots just rolled over them.
They trampled them. They trampled them. They were like, I was hyped for the Chargers, but in the end, the Patriots were just like, yeah, push you aside. It was literally like that.
Yeah. So I think they're a little overrated. Rams, with that piss poor Super Bowl. I mean, they're Super Bowl. They went to the Super Bowl last year. I think I'm going to say neutral. I mean, I agree with that. 86 overall defense and 83 offense. I can agree with that. So I think the Rams are neutral at 85. The Colts, I think they're neutral too. There's a lot of hype with their quarterback that they drafted 3 years ago. It's really good. He was hurt last year, so that's why they added a few key players. I think that defense, or 91 offense. I think I was reading these numbers backwards the whole time. Anyways, 91 offense. I agree with that. 78 defense. I think that's a little underrated. I think their defense will be a lot better. Falcons. Oh boy, here we go. I think they're way overrated. 86 overall. What do they do? They have Matt Ryan, and they haven't been to a Super Bowl in 3 years. Where the Falcons should have won it, yes, but Patriots had some like 27-point comeback. I mean, ever since then, it haunted them, I guess. And no, they're just haven't been good ever since. I mean, Browns beat them last year, so that's saying a lot,
Yeah.
So
yeah, the Browns beat them at a point where the Falcons were doing well, and then all of a sudden after that, they just they did a nosedive.
Took a face plant, yeah. So Chargers, I'm gonna say underrated. Rams neutral. Colts neutral. Falcons overrated.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. Yeah.
I think the Colts offensively are a lot better than what they're rated on here. I mean, Andrew Luck isn't a joke. Like, he put up the good numbers, during that playoff run, and he got them to the playoffs, and they didn't get far in the playoffs, but it was still, I still think that they're better than a 78 overall, to be honest with you. But
yeah,
that's just my opinion. I agree with most of them, except the Colts are underrated. Falcons definitely overrated. Don't know how they got this far. But speaking of teams that I don't know how they got this far.
Yes, here we go. This is where it really irks me.
We're gonna pinpoint the top 5 here. Packers, Green Bay Packers, 87 overall, 84 offensively, and 84 defense and 89 offense. And last year they were 82 overall with 83 offense and 85, and Aaron Rodgers was a 99 overall quarterback.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah, he's not in the 99 club this year. So I don't know what the Packers did this year. Like, maybe I just haven't been following them, but they just released like one of the best defensive tackles, Mike Daniels, and the Browns almost picked him up, obviously, but they didn't. He went to the Lions. So they lost him. I know they lost one of the receivers, I believe, and it's just like they lost. I feel so much and didn't add too much. And to be ranked at 87, I only think they're ranked 87 because of Aaron Rodgers. And the offense at 89, way too high. So they're way overrated here.
Yeah, I don't see how they can justify that like being up so high, especially after last year's performance. And we all know Deshaun Kaiser was their backup, and he made it so that Aaron Rodgers couldn't take a break when he hurt himself. Yeah, Packers they're way overrated here, and I don't get it. I don't understand the hype behind them right now, especially in the podcast that we listen to for the NFL. They're all for the Packers. I don't know why, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Whatever, man. Whatever. We shall see. Your motto, I guess.
All right. So how the mighty have fallen. New England Patriots are sitting at an 87
Super
overall.
Bowl champs.
Their defensive rating is 84, and their offensive rating is 91. Last year, they were the second overall team with 85, 89, 87.
So that's actually an increase. Oh, that's surprising.
It is, actually.
Yeah, I was honestly thinking they would always 90s, because they always been so dominant because the Patriots have been like the franchise to beat. And but the offense, I think overall they're underrated. But I think the offense is just right because they have Tom Brady still. He's getting a little older. Please, I hope. It's just, I hope he's getting a little worse. I'm sick of them. But their wide receivers out with a broken thumb for a few weeks, so that could affect them. And they do have a few good key offensive weapons. They lost their best tight end, which he was like one of the best tight ends we have ever seen. But we don't know if it was just because of Tom Brady. But I'm going to say a little underrated. I think they should be actually they're Super Bowl champions. They're defending the Super Bowl. So it's like they should be the highest ranked team here. But they're not. So I think they're a little underrated. I think we'll see them steady throughout Madden. I think they'll always be the high 80s. I don't think we'll see any like lower than that or.
Yeah, until Tom Brady is done being quarterback, I think they're going to stay in that high 80s, 90s range. I don't remember, I think they lost only to the Titans, the Titans, and the Dolphins last year. And to a person like me who doesn't follow the team, that looks bad on their part. But then you got to remember that they won every single other game against way better teams. And, the Dolphins won on a spectacular play, and the Titans just kind of dominated the game for some reason. So, yeah, I think it is a little underrated for the Patriots. You're welcome, fellow. And I think that they definitely deserve a higher spot, even though they did lose Gronk. I mean, he could possibly come out of retirement, too, by the end of the year.
Yeah. I think he will. I think he's just taking a little break, avoiding all the bullshit training camp stuff. And I think we'll see him in the playoffs again.
All right, Nico. We're moving on to the team that their heart was just broken last year. The New Orleans Saints. They have an 87 overall with a defensive rating of 82 and an offensive rating of 92. Last year, they were 83 overall with 85 and 85 offensive and defensive. What do you think?
I'm going to go with neutral here, actually. They still have the same team. They should have won that last year. I mean, I'm 100%. I mean, I'm not a Saints fan, so it didn't affect me. But they should have won that. I mean, Drew Brees he's a saint, according to your grandmother. But I think Drew Brees he's getting up there too. I think if they get a better quarterback, I think they could be a lot better. But one of the receivers, Michael Thomas, he's really good. They have a good line. They have a good few key players, and their defense is lockdown defense. They're really good. But I'm gonna go with they're neutral here. I think I like where they're at right now.
Yeah, I think they're just right. The third best team. They didn't start out too good last year, but I think towards the end of the season, they were definitely one of the dominant teams. One bad call, of course, broke the team's spirit, and then in overtime, they ended up losing pretty badly to the Rams. With that world's longest field goal. No one's going to mention that, but world's one of the best field goals we've seen. Watching it live,
yards or something like that.
It was crazy. It definitely icing the kicker takes a whole new tone to it when kicking that far.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're just right. I think they're Super Bowl contenders for this year. Myself, I'm not going to put any money down on it, of course, because who knows what could happen during the year, but. Yeah, we'll see. And then number 2 overall right now is the Dallas Cowboys. They're 88 overall with an 86 defense and 86 offense. Last year, they were 83 overall with an 87 overall offense and 83 overall defense. Overrated, underrated, or just about right?
Excuse me. Can I say, what the fuck? Like, why? Like, why? 88 overall. What did they do? Their quarterback is awful. Like, he is, like, you do not want this guy. They have a really good offensive line, and they have, like, one of the best running backs. Or not, I mean, he's, like, a top 5 running back, I would say. But, like, other than that, they have nothing. Their defense is good. So I agree with the 86 on offense and defense, but to be the second best team, like, what? Like, I don't get it. It's like they're overrated here. It just irks me. It's like, why? Like, what did they do? It just gets me scratching my head. It's like, why? Because they're America's team? I don't know.
I don't think they even made the playoffs last year, did they?
Nope.
Yeah, they didn't even make the playoffs.
The next 2 teams we talk about didn't even make the playoffs.
Oh, the Eagles went pretty far into the playoffs.
Not last year.
Are you sure about that?
Oh yeah, you're right, because they beat the Bears. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but yeah, the Cowboys. I don't know what they have going for them right now. Maybe they paid off Madden. What do you think?
I don't know why it's worth it, but whatever.
Yeah, I think they even lost their Thanksgiving Day game, which was the only game that I watched that they played in, and they didn't look that great. Even the Bears put on a better performance with their backup quarterback barely making it through that game than the Cowboys did with their healthy team. I don't know what to say about that.
I don't get it, but well, whatever.
All right, Nick. 2 years in a row, the Philadelphia Eagles have been number 1 on the Madden ratings, 89 overall this year, with an 87 offensive rating and an 84 defensive rating. Why the fuck are they number 1? Let me
don't know.
Real quickly, last year they were 91 overall, so they were technically better last year with a 97 overall offense and an 89 overall defense. Obviously, someone's taking drugs.
Yeah, like I don't get the hype, and they're a mediocre team last year. I mean, they weren't bad, they weren't like okay, they're like a decent team, but like why? Like Carson Wentz has been injured 2 years, and everyone still to this day will argue with you saying he's going to be the quarterback of the future. Dude gets hurt by ladybugs landing on him. Like he breaks his femur with strongest bone in your body, and like a little leaf will land on it, and it's broken. Like that's how fragile he is. And I mean, I could be eating my own bullets here because maybe this guy will come out and just light up the world, but. I don't mean it's just so much hype for them, and I don't get it. Like it's just the only reason they're so good, like in the playoffs, is because of Nick Foles, and he's on the Jaguars now. So it's like what? It's like what? I don't get it. Like,
and the funny thing is, the Patriots have better stats than them, and
yeah, across the board.
according to this list, the Packers do too. And the Saints should, I don't. And the Chiefs. I mean, we talked about the Chiefs and the Bears before. They definitely would have better ratings if this was more accurate. But yeah, Eagles at number 1. I'm sorry, Andrew, if you're listening to this. I just don't agree with this list. This list is bogus with the Eagles at the top here, especially at how bad they got trounced.
No, usually offense and defense usually makes your overall, but it just looks like they just like, oh, we'll make they like picked it. They're like, oh, the offense is 87. Okay, oh well, what should their defense be? Yeah, I feel like an 82. No, let's go with an 84.
Yeah.
And then their overall is just like, let's pick a number out of the box. It's just like what? Like I don't get how the Patriots have a 91 offense and be 87. And the Eagles have an 87 offense and be 89. Yeah. And the Patriots have the same 84 defense than the Eagles, and the Eagles are 2 points higher. I like, what? Like, what? It doesn't add up. Like, shouldn't the defense, topple the offensive rate? I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking about it too much. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, numbers aren't adding up here.
Yeah, I think the first update to Madden's going to take the Eagles down a peg, and I think their first game of the season is going to show that. Well, maybe it will show, maybe it won't. But I'm thinking it's going to show that there's cracks in the Eagles, and I don't think that the Eagles should be this hyped up, especially last year they didn't make it to the Super Bowl, and it was just because of Foles that they went so far. So what the fuck?
Didn't they get destroyed by the Rams or something like that after beating the Bears or something like that?
Yeah, I think the Rams, or was it the Patriots?
I don't
exactly.
I don't know, but
yeah, it doesn't matter.
I know they got lost. They've lost badly. And
yeah, it was a big oof.
Because I know the controversy is like at least the Bears would have put up a fight, something like that.
Right. Okay, well, that's all of them. Overall, who do you think that the best team should be right now, Nick?
Oof, big oof. Oof in chat, please. I want to go with the Chiefs, honestly. Chiefs or the Saints?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Chiefs or the Saints? I would have to say that, yep.
Yeah, I think the way it stands right now, it's a big load of lies. But, Nick, we have the running gag on the podcast. Ask Mr. Predicto a yes or no question.
I have to think of a new one. I can't ask about the Browns again. All right, I got it.
All right, he's ready.
Hey, Mr. Predicto. Should Yemmy and Nick get Madden 20?
Okay, here we go.
Yes, I am.
Oh!
Uh-oh.
We're getting it. Mark your calendars.
August 2nd. August 2nd.
2nd or 6th?
Yeah, it's the first week of August. August 2nd it comes out.
Oof.
All right. Well,
please, everyone.
you'll be seeing some Madden games on the channel in the future. Also, Nick, I have a special thing for you. Because I haven't done a Yemmy Recommends in a few weeks, I thought maybe you want to recommend something. What is the Greedy Waffle recommends for this week? Music wise. Yes, music wise.
Ah, oof.
What have
Let's
you been
see.
listening to the most this week, you think?
What have you? Give me a recap on what you do. You know, like what you um mentioned already.
Let's see, Astronoid, Dance Gavin Dance, their first album with Tillian, Tiny Moving Parts, and Swell. There's been a few.
Have you mentioned Capstan yet?
I have not mentioned Capstan.
Okay, there you go. Capstan. 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 Their last album is phenomenal. Actually, you got me into this band when we went to Warped Tour last year, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Something like that, and I started listening to them in the wake of our Discord. Get it, Discord. That album is real good, and they're pretty good. They're not that heavy. I would say. Would you say they're that heavy as what you normally listen to? Like, would you recommend?
Well, yeah. I actually, to be honest with you, during these recommends, I haven't gone full Yemmy except for Necrogoblicon. So people have been getting the lighter things, but Capstan can be heavier when they want to be. And I think this new album it's going to be an actual album. It's not like a EP or whatever. It's a full
they're supposed to be releasing a new album. So.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that they're going to go a little bit heavier on it. But in the wake of our Discord and the one before that, I can't remember the name right now. The albums flow so well together, and like seeing them live and listening to them on the album was perfect, and it was amazing.
Never heard the band before. Like you're like, oh, we gotta listen to this band. I was like, I don't know. Capstan sounds kind of like a dumb name, but then I listened to them. I was like, this is awesome. And then we met them, which was awesome.
And they took the time to meet everyone. They spent like 10-15 minutes with us. It wasn't like a quick okay, see ya.
Yeah, take a picture and get the hell out. But yeah, I like this band, so definitely check them out. I mean, like Yemmy said, there's some heavy songs, but most of their chorus stuff is normal, smooth singing.
Yeah.
So they're more punkish than heavy.
Exactly. Yeah. And you gotta still get your shirt. We got the brand new merch. We both bought a T-shirt, so that's gonna be pretty cool to wear that.
Yeah, so that's how we know there's a new album. I hope.
Yeah.
I mean.
All right. Well, hey, that's the pod. I know this one's a little bit long for the weekend, but me and Nick, we like to talk football and a lot of different things.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest,
I like football. I like all sports. So anytime you want me on for sports, I'm your man.
Yeah.
When they call those guys a guru or guru.
Guru. We'll definitely have Nick back for Super Bowl talk, probably beginning of the first half of the season talk for football, and also, of course, the end of the Super Bowl as well. We had him on last year for that as well. And in the future, once Modern Warfare comes out, we'll have him here for the tier list for Call of Duty games, because me and him are synonymous. Call of Duty and Nick meshes together. Call of Duty, Nick and me mesh together so well because it's just been ingrained in our childhood for so long.
We wreck that game so much. Anytime we're on the field, we're lighting it up.
Yeah. So if you want to, you can follow Nick on Twitter. His tags will be down in the description below. He doesn't really do YouTube or anything like that, but he's a great friend of mine, so that's why his place, this channel is his home. So I'm glad to have him on the channel whenever. You can also talk to him on Discord. He's in my Discord. Classic salad memes. He actually has merch. He has merch too as well. Yes. If you click the link, his salad comment has been put on a T-shirt. A full head of lettuce in a bowl. So if you want to, you can show your support of Nick's.
I even messaged him the next day. I was like, "Oh my god, thank you."
All right, awesome. Yeah, that's gonna be about it. Next week, I'm having Kylex Plays on. We talked about his channel and we did a fun game. So if you want to, you can check that out next week. Next episode of the podcast is Wednesday. We're talking news, so we'll be back with the news. And then Tuesday is another episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Monday, I don't think I really have anything Monday except for a live stream. But we're going to be finishing Peace Death tomorrow for sure. For sure. Nick, is there anything you want to say before we skedaddle?
Remember to eat your salads. Go Browns. And that's it. Go Browns.
Go Browns. That's all you need.
Go Browns. That's all you need.
All right. Well, once again, I am Yemmy the Ferret. I've been here with...
GreedyWaffle. That's
And
me. Sound
this
boy.
and this has been another episode of YemmyCast, a video game podcast.